All right, friends, so we're back and we want to talk about how to make perpendicular lines, and then we'll talk about how to make parallel lines. So let's do this. Let's talk about perpendicular lines. And by that, I mean the following. Let's imagine that you have a line. Let's see, the line looks like this, and you have some point over here, and you want to make a line that is perpendicular to this line through that point. Well, how do you do that? With a compass. Well, it's not that bad. We put our point on the point, and then we open up at least as wide as that distance to the line, and we make a big swoopy that hits the extension of this line, right? Because lines go forever. So we're definitely going to hit at this point and this point, right? Well, why would we do that? Because then what we're going to do is we're going to do the perpendicular bisector of this segment right here. And if we do the perpendicular bisector, let's make it a different color, of this segment right here, that perpendicular bisector is going to go through this point. It's going to be perpendicular to that line. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put the compass point here. We're open to more than halfway, and we're going to make a swoopy. Then we're going to come on over here, and we're going to make a swoopy. And when we construct the perpendicular bisector of this segment, that's in a terrible place, it should go right through that dot. And so we have made a line that is perpendicular to this given line through that point right there. Well, why would we want to do that? Well, here's a triangle. It's a random triangle. It's not very interesting. Let's make altitudes. Now, an altitude is a line segment that is perpendicular to a side through a point. And when we draw the perpendicular to this line segment, it's really to this line that contains that line segment through this point, through point A, and we're going to go perpendicular to BC. So how does this go? Well, we're going to open up bigger than the distance to the line and make the swoopy like so that this special place and this special place are the endpoints of our line segment of choice. We open up to more than half that distance, and we make a swoopy, and then we make a swoopy. And if we did this right, the perpendicular goes through A and through both of those intersection points. Through A and through both of those intersection points. They should line up. So this segment is an altitude, and we're going to color it red for convenience. Well, then we're going to come to segment, maybe we'll come to segment AB, and we'll do the same thing. We're going to draw an altitude from C to AB, which means we're going to need the extension of line AB because we draw a perpendicular to a line, and there's point C. So now we're going to come over here, and we're going to make a swoopy that's big enough so that we have this and that as the endpoints of a line segment. And we probably don't need to be that open to make a swoopy. And then we come over here and make a swoopy. And if we do this just right, the line that goes through those intersections also goes through C, and that's going to be, I'll make it blue for convenience so we can keep everything nicely color coded. In fact, let's make it a lighter blue just so it stands out a bit, and we'll make this maybe a pink so it stands out a bit. So what do we notice about the pink and the baby blue? Well, they come together at this special place. Well, guess what? And you'll have to do this in the privacy of your own home. When you construct the altitude from B to AC, it's going to go right through there. They're going to come together at one very special place. This very special place is called the orthocenter. Not that we really care about its name, except that ortho means perpendicular, so there's some significance there. And we can make perpendicular lines, and they do things. So that's helpful. We should also talk about parallel lines. So you've got a line, you've got a point, you're trying to make a parallel line. How does that go? So we're going to do a parallel line through that point, and we're going to use our compass in the following way. We're going to make a segment, and it doesn't even matter. Oh, bugger. It doesn't even matter where it is as long as it hits that line somewhere. What we're really going to do is make a rhombus. And here's why. What do we know about the opposite sides of a rhombus? We know that they're parallel. So if we make a rhombus where RH is one of the segments of the rhombus, we're in great shape. And how do we do that? Well, if we swing an arc down like this, then this point is point M, and we're not changing the length on the compass there, so we know that this is congruent to that. And then we've just got to figure out where O is. It's going to be somewhere out here. How do we know where it is? Well, we know that the opposite sides, we know that all the sides of a rhombus are congruent. So we can start here. O's got to be somewhere on that arc. And if we start at M, O's got to be somewhere on that arc. Well, if O's got to be somewhere on this arc and O's got to be somewhere on that arc, this thing has to be O. And because we measured well from H to O, that's congruent to this and that. And since we measured well coming from M, all four sides of the rhombus are congruent. Well, what does that mean? A rhombus is a parallelogram. All four sides, nope, that's false. Opposite sides of a rhombus are parallel. So this line through H and O is parallel to line RM, and it passes through that point right there. So we can construct a parallel line just by saying, pick any point down here on this line. It doesn't matter. Measure that out at some distance. And then use that distance to generate a third vertex, and two arcs will give you the fourth vertex. And once you have a rhombus, opposite sides of a rhombus are parallel, and we're good. So I hope this is helpful to you and that you now know how to construct parallel lines through a given point and perpendicular lines through a given point, because we use that in various ways in our discussion. See you soon.